It is time for this week's Full Court Press featuring our VIP guest. He coached in college basketball for 23 years at Manhattan, St. John's, and New Mexico. Then his career became all about talking hoops as A-tier broadcaster with ESPN, and now he's a Hollywood movie star. We'll talk about all of that with the great Fran Fraschilla, not to mention how he recruited Jimmer Fredette into 3x3 basketball. Spoke with Fran recently. Here is the entirety of that conversation. The great Fran Fraschilla, basketball savant. Great to have you on From the Logo. And just before we started, you pointed out you had a career for 23 years in actual coaching, and now you've been broadcasting for 23 years. Unbelievable run by you. And what's this I hear about a book coming out, Fran?
You know, it's funny, the book's title is Don't Mess with Happy, because after I left coaching to go to ESPN, there were probably the first 5 or 6 years where every spring I'd get the 3 or 4 calls about going back to being a head coach, usually back east where everybody knows me. They love me up at Siena, as Jimmer knows, because I used to coach at Manhattan. And but I had a decision to make. I actually took the associate head coaching job at Marquette with Tom Crean, my good friend. And they were coming off a Final Four, Dwayne Wade, Travis Diener, Steve Novak. And I was all set to move up there for the summer. And family would join me in the fall. And I was 90 minutes from getting on a plane to Milwaukee from Dallas. And it dawned on me, like, don't mess with happy. We lived in a great community in Dallas. The boys were having a great time. I was working 4 months a year at ESPN, being able to do all the other things I could do. And I turned the job down, and I've never looked back. And that was really when I made the decision, okay, you're a broadcaster for good now. And so don't mess with happy simply means I've had a great run in, coaching and broadcasting. And I've never had a real job because it's always been about basketball. Thank you, Dr. Naismith. If it wasn't for Dr. Naismith, I'd have to get a job. Jimmer would have had to get a job. So it's worked out well.
Yeah. We didn't want me to get a real job in the real world. We wanted to make sure we played basketball where we belong. But that's awesome to hear. I mean, don't mess with happy. I can't wait for that book to come out in October. You said, right, Coach? In October.
I hope so. Yeah.
Hope
we're
so.
done with it. We're polishing it up now. We'll hope it gets out by then.
I was thinking that at some point, Coach, that you actually would do a little bit more in Hollywood. Right, because of your little appearance that you had on Hustle, it was phenomenal. Tell us a little bit about that. And did you ever get any other roles? Are you going to get any other roles after that, Coach?
I've been told that if there's a sequel, that I'm in for sure.
Let's go. Let's go.
Every 3 months, I get a check from the Actors Union, SAG, AFTRA, for $269, $53. I actually got a check the other day for 47 cents. I don't know how, but it's true. But what happened was I got a call. You guys know who Dan Patrick is, right? Sports Center.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Dan's a great guy. He's a basketball junkie. He grew up in Dayton, Ohio. I think he played a little bit of basketball at Eastern Kentucky. And so he called me one day and he said, hey, my friend's making a movie, and it's about this international player and this NBA scout. And I thought of you. You could help these people out with some, background information, because as you guys know, I did the draft for a long time. And I said, sure, what's your friend's name? And he goes, Adam Sandler. I go, I'll help out. Sure. So Adam's people call me, and they said, we're making this movie, and they explained the movie. And they said, do you think there's anybody that you would know who could play the role of Bo Cruz? So immediately I thought of Luka Doncic. And I called his agent. Jimmer, Bill Duffy wasn't your agent, was he?
No, I talked to Bill, but he wasn't.
Yeah, but Bill was his agent, and I called Bill, and he checked back with me 2 days later. He goes, nah, Luka wants to hang out on the Croatian Riviera for the summer. And so anyway, I helped them out, and when they got the thing going, they said, hey, we're going to have you make a cameo in the movie. Well, COVID hit. They stopped filming, and I said, that's it. My big break's not going to happen. Well, about a year later, they were finishing up filming, and the people from the movie called me and said, are you ready? can you get to Philadelphia in early September? I said, yes. And the coolest thing was, I swear they had a trailer for me with my name on the door. I had one of those. I did. And the other thing that was,
Wow.
yeah. And then like they had this script for me. And as you guys know, Adam's a big basketball guy. And one of his friends growing up, who was a college coach in New England, in New Hampshire, they had the script and he was there with us. And he said to the script writer, Coach Fran doesn't need a script. Let him just wing it. So I had to come up with my own, dialogue. And here you go. You ready? Can I give it to you?
Yeah, let's hear it. I want to hear it. Let's go.
We've been watching Kermit Wilt since he was in AAU. We knew he was going to be an NBA player, but this guy, Bo Cruz, I thought I knew every player on the planet, and I never heard of this guy. And that was it. One take. One take.
There we go. Still got it.
I still got it.
Right.
I still remember it. And when I filmed it in the morning, we actually filmed it in Philadelphia. They created this like NBA draft combine, like in Chicago. And I filmed it at 9 a.m. So Adam came in a little later, and I'm standing on the side watching him continue to film the movie. And Adam comes up to me and hits me in the stomach, and he says, Coach, I heard you killed it. And that was cool. And then about a year later,
awesome.
we got invited to the premiere. And as you guys know, the coolest thing about that movie, I had to watch it twice because I didn't realize how many cameos were in the movie.
Goodness. Yes.
Like, Tyrese Maxey. Oh, wow. Tobias Harris, Trae Young. It was such a realistic depiction of an NBA combine draft, whatever, but it was very cool. We got to go to LA for the premiere, and my movie career was born. It hasn't gone very far, I can tell you that, but hey, I'm 1 for 1.
1 for 1.
Hollywood star Fran Fraschilla is on From the Logo. His next 47-cent check is in the mail somewhere, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
It's not like Friends. It's not like Friends checks that they're getting, all those residual checks. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was
fantastic story. Okay, let's rewind to your introduction to the game of basketball, Fran, both as a player and an interested party in that regard, and then how that evolved into why you wanted to coach basketball.
Well, it's a great question, Spencer. Like I grew up in New York City, in Brooklyn. Where Jimmer grew up, we always say upstate New York. Jimmer was upstate. I was in the city.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Brooklyn in my era, and it dates me a little, but we had a great New York Knicks team. This would have been a 69-70 Knicks. That's over 50 years. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But every one of those starters is in the Naismith Hall of Fame. They played the game the right way, They hit the open man was what we all grew up watching. And we would watch that Knicks team and then go to the park and try to duplicate moving the ball and sharing it. And the things you learn on a playground, I'm sure it was true with you guys, but I learned so much on a playground in Brooklyn. You learn how to be the youngest guy in the team. And if it's a Saturday morning where there's 25 guys waiting and you got picked to play with the older guys, no mistakes. Don't cause our team to lose. And then we got to wait 2 hours, right?
Yep.
So I was the hustle guy. I was the ball mover. And as I got older in the park where we grew up, I got better. I got to pick my teammates. I wanted to pick guys that would screen for me, make the right play. The things you learn on a playground are unbelievable, like conflict resolution, right? It's off Jimmer. No, it's off you. No, it's off you. No, you found me, right?
You got to shoot for it.
Yeah, shoot for it. Or some guy's talking trash, you're talking trash back, and after the game, it's that mutual respect. Good game, man. Hey, love playing against you. So many of those lessons I grew up learning on a playground that I knew early on I knew I wasn't going to be an NBA player at my size, and I gravitated towards coaching. And I was a really good baseball player in New York. My sons went on the internet once when they were little, back in the early 2000s when the internet was coming up, and they said to me one day, "Hey, Dad, were you all city in baseball?" I go, "Yeah, I think I was." They go, "Yeah, no, we just looked it up." And so I was a good baseball player, but I love basketball. And I knew I wanted to coach, and I knew I wasn't going to be a pro. And when I went to college at Brooklyn College, I actually went back and coached the JV at my high school as a college freshman. And that's how it got started. You know, my high school varsity coach said, "Hey, listen, you don't have to teach, and we'll have a teacher. They'll be like you'll coach the team, but you're, you know, I didn't get the title because I wasn't a teacher. I was still a college freshman, but I got to coach junior varsity high school basketball as a 19-year-old. That's how it started.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but if you were growing up on the 69-70 New York Knicks, you witnessed the Willis Reed moment when it happened.
Yes.
How did that change your life, Fran?
Yeah,
Well, you know what's
seriously, that's
funny?
unbelievable.
Well, let me tell you something, Spencer. First of all, there was no ESPN back then. And in New York City that night, it was Game 7, a Friday night, May 8th. How about that?
Yep.
Right?
I love it.
And the crazy thing about it was the game was not televised live in New York.
What?
It was on tape.
Jeez.
That's how it was in the old days. You know, when Magic won his first Laker championship, 1980, and on CBS, that's not that long ago. That game was tape delayed till 11:30 that night. And so we didn't see I listened to Marv Albert that night. The great Marv Albert was that was the voice of my childhood. But yes, Willis got hurt in Game 5. We somehow managed to beat the Lakers and Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor. We lose Game 6 in LA. Willis comes out and hits I think, Jimmer, he had an ACL injury. Like they didn't call it an ACL back then.
Yeah, something crazy.
So he comes out with an ACL, hits the first 2 shots, doesn't score the rest of the night, and the great Walt Clyde Frazier went for 36 and 19 assists that night. And the rest is history. We won our championship. And we all went to the park the next morning and, you know, tried to duplicate that.
Tried to play with a limp. Yeah, that is unbelievable. Just
Yeah.
What a great story. And, you know, obviously I grew up in New York. I grew up a Knicks fan as well. Didn't watch that one live, Fran, unfortunately.
No, you were not. I don't think
that was
you weren't
before
born
my
yet,
time.
man. Come on.
That was a little before my time. I was Allen Houston,
Yes.
Larry Johnson era, right? But
There you go.
unbelievable stuff. Coach, you know, obviously going through, you know, coaching all over the place that you've been, what was your coaching philosophy like? How did your teams play specifically? And do you see that in the game, and some of your philosophies in the game today?
Well, Jimmer, my philosophy was we had a high standard, man. Our practices were incredible. I mean that. My kids at Manhattan College first. You know, we had a kid from Albany Christian Brothers Academy who's now
CBA.
CBA. And we had a big Manhattan contingent up there because of the Christian Brothers taught at Manhattan College also. But
That's right.
you know, my coaching philosophy was we're gonna get the most out of every single guy, every single day, every single practice. I had a high standard. I was very intense, and but I also knew how to manipulate guys. Like I would say to you in February, "What's that practice plan say, Jimmy?" And you'd say 50 minutes, coach. And I'd say, "Okay, guys, look, if we go hard as we can for 50 minutes, we're done. Okay, you want to be out here an hour and a half, go right ahead. But if you want to get it done and get out of here, 50 minutes." And so I was a hard ass, excuse my language, for dedication, discipline, doing things the right way every single day. We started the practices the same 25 minutes every single day with fundamentals. And I would say to the guys, don't get bored if you're getting better. And I would say to them, "Hey, I'm bored too. Okay, I want to put the tricky plays in, but we're not going to put the tricky plays in until we handle our business early." So I was pretty demanding, and I would tell you this. I think this is a cool story. My Manhattan College team in 1994-95 is a team that ended up beating Oklahoma in the NCAA tournament as a 13 seed, and Oklahoma was a 4 seed. We were 22-2 towards the end of the season, and we played on a Monday, and we didn't play till Saturday, and we were rolling. We had a really good mid-major team, and so I gave them off on Tuesday, and I come in Wednesday morning, and I tell my staff, "I think we need another day off." Okay.
Wow.
It's a long season. I'm going to make sure we get our rest, but I'm not going to let them think I'm satisfied. So we'll dress out today and tape up And after 5 minutes, I'll make something up like crazy and go nuts and kick them out. So 5 minutes into that Wednesday practice. Now remember, we didn't play till Saturday, so we were good, right? It's late in the year, we're rolling. I kick him out. Some guy dropped a pass in our 3-man weave. I go nuts. You guys think you're better than you are. You're 22-2. I give you a day off, and this is what you do to me. And so I leave to go up to my office in the gym, Traddy Gym at Manhattan College. And my assistant coach has said to me, Coach, that was Academy Award right there. I mean, you might be on Hustle someday if you keep this
That's
up.
what I was about to say. You started your career right there.
But here's the cool thing. The managers come up 5 minutes later and they say, Coach, they're practicing. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, no, they took the practice plan. They're practicing with no coaches. They took so much pride in the way we practiced that they thought they were letting me down and their teammates down. And my assistant coaches said, should we go out there? And I said, no, it's not our team anymore. It's their team. They thought they were letting me down, so they stayed out there and practiced. And I didn't tell them for 25 years until we had the reunion.
That is awesome.
It was the coolest moment of my career. We beat Lute Olson at Arizona when they had a 60-game winning streak when I was at New Mexico.
Jeez.
I beat UConn when I was at St. John's when they had a 50-game win streak. But that moment where they kept practicing without me was the best moment of my coaching career because they believed that we were so good because of the way we practiced every day.
Wow.
And that's my philosophy in a nutshell.
That is an unbelievable story. And I'm guessing it shows up in your book somewhere. If it doesn't, Fran, you need to make a modification right now.
Well, and by the way, I did not, given that this is a PG rated or G rated podcast, I'm not going to share with you the language I used that day when I kicked him out.
We appreciate that, Fran. We appreciate that. We can imagine. Yeah, that's right. Not anymore. Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah,
that's right.
How about that? Go Jaspers.
And by the way, I coached at St. John's in New Mexico. You know, I was in witness protection in New Mexico. My mother said, do you need a passport to come visit you? I said, no, Mom, it's New Mexico. Don't worry. You know, and but in all those 3 stops, the best place I coached at was Manhattan. It was my first head coaching job. It was mid-major, as Jimmer knows, Siena, Manhattan, big rivalry, and it was great because it was like there was an innocence there. And then I go to St. John's and coach in the Big East, coach in the Mountain West, and got to know Steve Cleveland and Dave Rose really well, 2 good friends. But my favorite part of coaching was at Manhattan College, where I was trying to figure out whether I could be a head coach after coming from Providence College as an assistant. My kids were little. They were just babies. And coolest thing on a Saturday afternoon after we beat Fairfield or Marist was driving home and grabbing pizza at Papa John's and bringing it home and watching basketball with my 2 little guys.
So great.
They're not little anymore.
What it's about.
They're not. They're not.
Fran Fraschilla is on From the Logo and telling incredible stories. Let's have some hypothetical fun, shall we, Fran?
Yeah.
Let's rewind you to when you were in witness protection in New Mexico, coaching the Lobos. Let's say you had the game plan for Jimmer Fredette. How would you have tried to game plan with your Lobos for Jimmer Fredette at BYU?
Hey, listen. It was hard for Eddie, but we noticed. I don't want to build him up, but maybe we would have done with remember when Steph Curry didn't score in a game at Davidson because the coach at Loyola Maryland put 2 guys on him? And Davidson won by 30, and I don't think Steph scored that night. But we'd have to think about putting 2 guys on Jimmer. But Jimmer had some good teammates, too. You know, I saw those guys play in the NCAA tournament, and I don't know how you guard Jimmer, really. Maybe deny him the ball. You know, I mean, you're talking about, again, he's not going to get a big head because I know how he is, but you're talking about one of the great college players of the last 2 decades. So that's a tough question, Spencer. You put me on the spot. Well, you know what we would do? I'm going to tell you the story because, Spencer, I think I've told you.
Yes,
I hated BYU when I was coaching against them because Jimmer, the guys that came back from the missions, they were dirty. They cheap shotted you, elbowed you. Then after the game, they shake your hand. They go, Coach, good game, man. You guys play so hard. We love playing the Lobos. I'm like, get out of here, man. But we would have probably had a cheap shot Jimmer a couple times, which I'm sure people tried to do. But he's too
That's
good a
right.
guy to do that. He's too good a guy to do that. I don't think I could have done it. So
Yeah,
that would have been hard
no
to
cheap
stop.
shots. No cheap shots for me. Yeah, I definitely got cheap shotted before. You know how it works, though. You get cheap shot, and then you just go harder, right? You go
I know,
harder.
I know.
That's how it works. The best way to do it is actually just be as kind as you possibly can, and
I could
just
see
be
it.
like, if you can do that, then all of a sudden you're like, all right, this is a little odd. Yeah, Andrew Luck
Hey,
route,
Spencer, he killed people. Jimmer killed people with kindness as he dropped 45 on them.
I'd smile. I'd always smile. I'd always smile. So, Fran,
Yes.
obviously you had a great coaching career, and then you decided, all right, this isn't for me. It's time to get into broadcasting. And like you said, you talked about it a little bit before. I want to dive a little bit more into that of like what specifically led you to broadcasting. Why did you like that route? And obviously you're the face of the Big 12, right? Like when people think of Big 12, they think of Fran Fraschilla. How has that rise been, and how much work have you had to put into it?
Well, first of all, Jimmer, honestly, no work at all because I've grown up, I mean it sincerely, from the time I was 13 or 14, I've been around basketball every single day of my life since I was 13 or 14. I'm just telling you that.
Yeah.
Whether it's talking on the phone to coaching friends, watching tape, reading articles, studying the game, and still at this time, I'm always learning something. I try to tell young coaches this, they don't believe me, but I learned something about basketball every week of my life. I go watch Kelvin Sampson practice and I see an inbounds play, like a 2-second on a shot clock play they put in. I go, damn, I wish I had that in my playbook, So it's not work. I prepare for the season, Big 12, ESPN, the whole year long. Like if I see a really cool article in the Salt Lake Tribune on, let's say, Kebakeda in July, he just came back from his home country and he was playing volleyball with his brother, like that, Spencer, I dropped that in there.
Let's go.
Yeah, there you
Let's
go.
go.
I'll put that article in the BYU file. And
Right.
so I'm constantly upgrading and updating my knowledge. And then, whether it's watching practice tape or games, like I'm doing Houston, Arizona and Houston on Saturday, and I'm watching a Big 12 championship game from last year. Houston, Arizona, just so something happens in a game. So I can't really say this is work. Now, here's the other thing. Growing up in New York City, where you argued about the Mets and the Yankees, the Knicks and the Nets, the Jets and the Giants, you learned the gift of gab. And honestly, and so when I segued into broadcasting, we moved the family to Dallas. I really truly thought I would only do it for a couple of years and then go back to coaching. And as I told you guys earlier, once I really got my feet wet with broadcasting and I loved it and I loved the lifestyle, and I didn't have to recruit guys and, all the stuff that goes on, the pressure of coaching. I decided, like, again, don't mess with happy, but I work at my craft, as you guys could probably tell. But I don't consider it work. Like if you guys were watching a game on TV and maybe it was you guys and KY and I said something and you guys were all together and saying, that's not really true. I wonder why Fran said that. I would be insulted. So I always try to take it like, yeah, you know what Fran just said made sense. Or Fran knows our team, or something like that. Like for example, Spencer knows this. I love Rob Wright Jr. and I think now he's going to the shackles are going to come off. But I did say on the air, every now and then Rob delivers the ball half second late. And Richie's waiting for it and it's just a little bit late. And I'm not afraid to say those things because I know KY and the staff are telling Rob the same thing, even though I have the utmost respect for how talented a player he is. And we may really see him blossom in these last few games because it's just him and AJ right now, at least picking up the scoring slack. So I put a lot of time into it, but by no means do I consider what I do work.
Fran, you brought up the fact that you're going to call Arizona at Houston on Saturday for ESPN, which is just amazing. You and John Shambi do such a great job. So fun to listen to those games. The Big 12 is so loaded this year and very top heavy. And I think widely considered the best college basketball conference in America. Yeah. So with that said, who's the best team in all of college basketball right now? And is it a Big 12 team?
Well, it's a good question. I think it varies week to week, Spence. And
Yeah, it really
right
does.
now, right now, I would have to say Michigan.
Hmm.
But last week, before Koa Pete's injury, I would have said Michigan and Arizona. And then right behind them, you have the Dukes, you have the Iowa States, you have Houston with those two great young freshmen fitting in with Sharp and Uzan and Tugler. And the crazy thing about the Big 12 this year, and it's so unfortunate about the injuries to JT Toppin and to Richie Saunders, is that this last month of the season is almost like the Western Conference NBA playoffs. Like every night, there's an incredible matchup. Like we don't have Oklahoma City and the Nuggets, but we have Houston, Arizona. We had Arizona at BYU a couple weeks ago. And give ESPN credit and the Big 12 for backloading the schedule. It's not easy for the top of the league, but I think it's made for incredible drama. And like, for example, if Arizona loses again on Saturday, it doesn't matter. They're already a 1 or a 2 seed, because they're not losing. Honestly, they're not losing to UCF or West Virginia. They're losing to a team in Houston that can win a Final Four. And until the injuries, I thought there were 5 or 6 teams that we could have put in that boat. But it's still atop every league, and we still have some great games. And by the way, you will see me on senior night because Texas Tech is rolling into Provo, and I'll have one more trip to a city that you guys know I really love coming to. So
That's for sure. We love having you in Provo, Fran. I know all of the Cougars fans out there love having you. They interact with you on X and all the different platforms, which I see, which is awesome. And you gotta make sure you get yourself a cougar tail and have yourself a great time, right? You gotta
and Cubbies.
Get on.
I go to
get
Cubbies.
on that Cubbies. There you go. Get in some Cubbies. Get on the treadmill before though. I know you like to get on the treadmill in the morning, right, Coach? You get the treadmill in the morning and make sure you get those calories burned. Then you can go out there and eat what you need to eat. So, Coach, who's the best player that you've seen in college basketball this season? And then I have a follow-up after that.
Ooh, man. I mean, it has to be. Listen, I'm not going to be bad-mouthing Darren Peterson. He's a great player. Yeah. I have seen him when he's healthy, and he's really a phenomenal player. I thought maybe Kobe early, but we can't do that. Kobe would not have sat out any of these games. He wouldn't have.
That's very true.
Hey, you guys remember? Do you remember Kobe shot 2 free throws with a torn Achilles?
Yes, and he made both of them.
He made both of them, and then walked off.
Yeah,
and he walked off.
Yeah, and
on a torn Achilles.
Yes, and KD did it also in the NBA Finals. And but in all honesty, not because this is Cougar centric here, because of you two guys.
Sure.
But what I love about AJ, and I've said this on the air, and I've probably told Spencer this. When I saw him with the USA team in Colorado Springs, where, as you guys know, I live now, and I get to see USA basketball. AJ's the kind of guy that if you're playing Finland and you're up 40, he's getting 12 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Yep. Okay? And when you're playing in a gold medal game, he's getting 29 and 15 because he knows, he's a great teammate.
He knows the time.
But he also knows, what I love about him this year, I didn't expect him to dominate even the bad teams. Like Eastern Washington comes in, he's trying to kill him on the court, of course. And obviously, we've seen what he's done at UConn, Clemson, second halves, what he's going to have to do now, like he did, the other night. And I know this is a crazy analogy, but if KG, who Jimmer's played against many times, came back as a small forward, AJ's got a little KG in him in terms of that hunger for competitiveness. Yeah. I can't put anybody in the KG category. But as a college player at 19, AJ's got some of that. And I think right now he would have to be the best player in the country. And because he's proven it time and time again all season long, regardless of the competition.
Yeah. So my quick follow-up then is just, who are you taking number 1? Is it AJ then? You taking number 1 in the draft? Well, because I'm taking AJ number 1 in the draft. That's what I said in that last podcast for those same reasons that you just talked about. But most people have Darren as number 1, and I understand and I get it. But I'm curious, who you taking number 1?
Okay, so I have a good friend, Kevin. I don't know if you know Kevin Pritchard, Jimmer,
Yeah,
the
I do.
GM for the Pacers, right?
Yep.
Kevin Pritchard, they're going to have a lottery pick, okay? Let's say they have the number
Yeah.
one pick.
Sure.
He's got to go to his owner, Mr. Simon, all those outlet mall, those shopping center malls, the Simon family. But he's got to go to Mr. Simon in early June and say, we're going to take Darren Peterson number one, and we're going to commit $36 million to him. And Mr. Simon's, the owner of the Pacers, is going to say, wait a minute, is this the kid that kept missing games and cramping up? And yeah, Mr. Simon, that's the kid. Well, what are we doing here? I mean, how do we know he's going to play more than 50 games a season? You know, and so I think right now among the top players, the best ability is availability.
Right.
And I think right now you got to go with AJ. I think you'd even have to think about Cam Boozer. And, you know, Spencer has seen up close and personal Kingston Fleming's.
Oh, man.
Ooh,
He was
and
that
special.
kid is good.
Hey, listen, Shea
He's good.
Gilgeous-Alexander went 11th. They're not 11
know.
10 better players than him in that draft. You know?
No.
Dame
No.
Lillard went 6th. You know,
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson went 34th. He's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. So all I know is AJ, to me, is a very safe pick because of all the things he brings to a team. And I can't right now in good conscience go with Darren Peterson because it's a fluid, crazy situation.
Fran Fraschilla is on From the Logo. We are discussing the top college basketball players in the country. We just asked him who he'd take number one in the NBA draft. We know that the right team and the right fit obviously factors into that heavily. Fran, out of curiosity, how much are you consulted with by NBA GMs and coaches because you are around so many high-level basketball players and basketball teams for your opinions and expertise?
It's a great question, Spencer. I have a lot of friends around the league. The one thing that I get to really do as a broadcaster, because I'm an ex-coach also, and I know all the coaches, is I get to go to every practice I want, really. Now, there's practices in late February and early March where I won't go the day before, but I'll go to the shoot-around because it could be a team like TCU fighting for survival, and I don't want them to be worried, the coaches to be worried about, the ESPN guys here. But like tomorrow afternoon, I'll be at Houston Cougar practice, okay? And because I'm close to their coaching staff. And I'll give you a good example. In your first year in the league, Spencer, you remember Jamal Shed.
Oh,
And-
man.
Yeah.
That dude
He was a man.
rolled out.
And I remember seeing Jamal, and again, I coached 18 NBA players as a head coach and as an assistant. I have a son coaching in the league. I know, I've watched them all come through. I know what an NBA player looks like, I think. But I remember telling my friends in the NBA, you're not cutting Jamal Shed, okay? Jimmer knows that every team in the league has a backup point guard, and sometimes they have a third point guard.
Yep.
And I said, Jamal Shed's not getting cut. He's going to make your team because he brings energy every day. He's going to be your summer league point guard. Like when you draft a Jimmer Fredette and you go into summer league, and this probably didn't happen with Jimmer because he went to an organization. I'll just leave it at that. But if you're drafting Jimmer Fredette and you're in summer league, you better have a Jamal Shed or a TJ McConnell who's not only trying to make the team, but is going to make sure that our top pick is getting shots.
Yeah.
Am I right, Jimmer?
100%. Absolutely.
And
You need
so,
those
like
guys on your team.
Jamal Shed's going to make your team. He's going to bring energy every day. And if you got to drop him for the G League for a couple weeks. So anyway, yes, there are a number of people in the league that will call me and say, hey, what do you think of this kid at practice? And I'll tell you a perfect example. Last year with KY, when I said, hey, can Richie make the league? He said to me, he even if he wasn't a great shooter, he could make the league because he brings toughness every day. And, we're all going to be pulling for Richie to get healthy quick because I think we all agree that if Richie's at his best physically, that he's going to be a quality addition to a team. And as Jimmer knows better than anybody here, there's only 25 superstars in the league. Everybody else is a role player.
That's exactly right.
If you can find your role, and I love finding roles for my friends in the league. Like you need to watch this kid, George Niang. He brings energy, teammates love. The reason George gets traded so much is because everybody wants him on his team.
Yeah.
But he's not good enough.
He's not
He's
correct.
not good enough to be in your top 7, but you
Right.
want him on your team. And like that's what I love about the league is watching these kids that I see come through the Big 12 and seeing them make the NBA. And Tyrese Halliburton texted me on Monday night because I remember his freshman year. He had 5 points against Missouri. They blew Missouri out. He played 38 minutes. And I said, the best pro prospect on Iowa State is this kid who just scored 5 points as a freshman. And he texted me Monday night and said, how about my clones? And that's the kind of friendship and relationship I've built up with these guys through the years, which is kind of cool.
You bring up a great point, Fran, when you talk about a guy like Richie Saunders, and let's bring in JT Toppin into this mix as well, because obviously ACL tears require a lengthy recovery and a lot of treatment, and you need things to go right, and you got to work through all of that rehab. And then, I mean, the timing stinks. There's no way around it. The timing absolutely stinks because it stunts their ability to hop into those postseason workouts and get into workout for NBA teams and the draft. So what do you do with those two guys? Because I sit back here and I feel like if there's somebody that's going to find a way to make it in the NBA, it's Richie Saunders. Like, it doesn't matter. But it still impacts the timeline and how he's going to be evaluated. And the same thing for JT Toppin. So where do you go with those guys?
Well, Jimmer knows it's a tough break. I mean, God forbid anybody tears an ACL. You'd rather it be like last September, right?
Correct.
Instead of the end of the season. You know, my son Matt, when he played at Harvard, he tore his ACL the third game of the season at Providence, diving on the floor. And he was a hard worker. And I remember he told me afterwards, he said, Dad, my knee was structurally sound in 6 months, but I didn't feel the same for 9 to 12 months. And Jimmer, I don't know if you've ever had an injury that severe, but you've had teammates that have gone through this and you've watched guys rehab. So the toughest, first of all, if you're a maniac about rehab, you will be back a little sooner than the average guy, but it's still going to be like a 6 to 12 month process. And I think JT was going back to Texas Tech anyway. I do think so. And my gut feeling with JT is like maybe by January 1st. Again, I hope he's back in October. Don't get me wrong. But I think like by January 1st, maybe 9 months, he could be ready to go. And with Richie, I think what's going to happen is he still could go second round, maybe. It's a little different now because of the injury, but someone's definitely signing him. And maybe to a 2-way deal, and then he's going to rehab with a team. And by the way, Colin Gillespie, who's now a good player in Phoenix, Villanova guy, he broke his leg like right before the start of his rookie year, and it took him a couple of years, and now he's in. They love him in Phoenix. I mean, Jimmer knows he was in Denver.
He was great.
They didn't know what they were doing in Denver, honestly, but that's another story. And they let him go. Mike Malone loved the guy. My point is, Richie's going to get his chance. And, we're all people of faith, right? And I think Richie's going to bust his tail and he's going to put it in the man upstairs' hands. And I can't imagine if he's not completely healthy in 9 to 12 months that he's not going to have, maybe he's going to start his career a little later than most. But he'll find a way on a roster. That's my opinion. Jimmer, what do you think?
I agree, Fran. I think that it is going to, it's probably going to affect his draft stock some. It just is what it is. But at the same time, he's going to get a shot somewhere. But it's going to be a road through the G League. Like, it's just going to be that way. And that's okay because there's a lot of guys that do that now. And Richie is a fighter. He's a guy that, like we said, he's energy. He's a fighter. He's competitive. He wants it. He knows he wants it. So he's going to go out there and he's going to find a way just because that's who he is. It just is. It's always a bummer when you see something like that. So
it's tough.
It's really tough. Coach, I wanted to transition into something. Maybe some people may know this, some people may not know this, but Coach Fraschilla was actually the guy that got me to go in and play 3x3 basketball. And which was an awesome thing. And I want to talk a little bit about that when you called me the first time. And then I want to talk about our lunch that we had at Redlands Grill here in Denver to be able to solidify me playing 3x3 basketball. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right. Well, first of all, Spencer, Jimmer and I crossed paths a few times. Like, obviously, I followed his incredible career. And Jimmer, we first crossed paths, I think, like TBT.
Yeah.
when you were playing TBT, and
Absolutely.
then when Harvard played in Shanghai,
Yeah.
I went to the game the night before, and I sat up top with Yao because of my friendship with Jeff Van Gundy and Tibbs. And
Yep.
Yao didn't really know me, but he was really nice to me. And I remember seeing you down in the locker room after the game with Donald Sloan, and we
Yep.
just, we talked, and we kind of connected then. And then when I got asked to kind of help out and organize USA 3x3, trying to qualify for the Olympics, I was thinking of everybody I could who might be good at this, Spencer. And I said, Jimmer Fredette lives an hour from me. I know how competitive he was. It's half court, so I know he can do this. I just took a shot I took a shot. I really took a shot about his competitiveness,
Yeah.
and we went up and had lunch, and I explained this crazy deal. And I didn't know that he played like the Gus Macker 3-on-3. And that was a big thing to him growing up in Glens Falls. Like, we all grew up playing 3-on-3. I don't care if you grew up in Provo, Utah, or upstate New
Yep.
York, wherever, Venice Beach, California, you play 3-on-3.
Absolutely.
Right? So we all grew up playing 3-on-3, and I explained this crazy game to him. There's a shot clock, 12 seconds, you got to take it out. And it's basically the way we all grew up playing 3-on-3 on steroids.
Yeah.
And so once I explained it to him, he kind of bought into it. And we had that first training camp in Brooklyn, Jimmer. Do you remember?
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then the next thing you know, and I had to do the sales job. Like, listen, just give us 6-7 weeks of summer, and you could be the face. And listen, it was terrible that he got hurt. And like Richie, but he brought so much to the sport. And I have to tell you this, he won't tell you, but everywhere those guys went around the world, forget how good he was, because he was really one of the couple best players on the tour. Those Oop guys were good, Jimmer. Those guys from Serbia.
They're always good. They're always good.
They were tough as hell. And but everywhere we went, or when they went on their own, the four guys, they all knew Jimmer, like in Serbia, in the Netherlands, and Mongolia. Think of the crazy places you went. Wherever they went and played, representing the U.S., it was always like people just wanted to say hi to Jimmer, get his autograph. And he was incredible ambassador, like I knew he was. And now he's got a chance to take it forward as the managing director. And it's the coolest thing, because I've never told him this. We couldn't have found a better poster boy for 3x3 than him, Spencer, because he was a great talent. He was competitive. He's the boy next door. If you don't like Jimmer Fredette, you don't like people. All the things that all the things that everybody associated with BYU has grown to love about him. He did the same thing for us and building this 3-on-3 program. So it was really cool. And I mean, I know his eyes were opened by the toughness and the competition, and no autopsy, no foul, right? Tell him, Jimmer. Nope. Tell Spencer, no
That's
autopsy,
100%.
no foul.
I try to tell him. Yeah. Spencer's always calling the weak fouls. Spencer's always calling weak fouls, man.
Come on.
I touch him, and he's like, foul.
Big 12 tough here. Big 12 tough here. Let's go.
Spencer, the coolest thing about 3x3 that I tell everybody is the opponent will knock you down, but they'll help you back up.
Yep.
And then after the game, they're patting you on the back. And maybe some of those guys go out for a beverage that I'd rather have iced tea. I know Jimmer's probably drinking Dr. Pepper or root beer, right?
100%. 100%.
But the cool thing, Jimmer, right? I mean, it was highly competitive, but with a lot of respect. Kind of like the old days, the way we grew up.
Yeah.
A lot of respect. And it's a hard sport. It's the equivalent of volleyball and beach volleyball. And it's really hard to explain. And the three guys that played it in the Olympics when Jimmer got hurt, I try to tell people, that's like running a 4x400 relay, and one guy's got to run twice.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how hard it was. And the one guy that had to run twice was Canyon Barry, and Canyon put on one of the great performances in 3x3 history, right? The 17 points.
He did.
Kind of amazing. Canyon's mom and dad live a mile from me here in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So I don't know, Jimmer, what's your take on the whole thing and getting you involved?
It was great. I mean, it was such an awesome. I remember getting that call, and I'd heard about it a little bit. Obviously, I hadn't watched it very much, but it was something that I knew was attached to Olympics. And like I said, I love the Olympics. I just absolutely always have.
Yeah.
And to have a chance to be able to play in the Olympics was just like I was in, right? And it didn't really care what it was. I remember during that summer when we had talked about it, I wanted to start playing, and I know that Team DC was out there playing, and I remember like texting you, calling you, and be like, "Oh, they were looking for another guy to come play or something." I was like, "Can I play? Like, I'll come play with them right now." And we all know that those rules don't allow that to happen, and I know that better than anybody now. But back then, it's like you don't know. It's like I just want to go play and get ready to go, and it was one of those things where. It was just it's a beautiful sport. Respect, like you said, is a big part of it with all the guys that are there. And it's something that I just absolutely grew to love. I grew to love that sport, and that's why I'm continuing to still be involved in it in a highway, in a big way. But it's one of those things that life-changing experience for sure.
And Fran, let's remind everyone that before Jimmer got involved, Team USA didn't qualify for the Olympics.
No, that was the goal. That was
Yeah.
the goal when Jim Tooley and Jay Demings asked me to come on board. The key was we really want to qualify, and again we got lucky because Jimmer was still competitive, still still really good, and I really did have a feeling, Jimmer, that you would say yes. I just from knowing what I knew about you, I had a feeling that it was right up your alley. It wasn't a 12-month commitment. You weren't going to be locked in a hotel in Shanghai,
in China,
and you could still be with the family, a beautiful family, and they got to hang out a little bit, come down to Colorado Springs when I saw him at the trials and stuff. But no, he honestly, Spencer, we couldn't have found a better poster boy for the sport, and now he's going to grow it, and it's going to be really cool. And Jimmer made the point, like we just can't get 4 NBA players to play because the way the rules are set up, you got to be committed to playing in events like. Not necessarily 12 months a year, but you got to give up a lot. I'd say 10, 15 weekends a spring, summer, and fall, Jimmer, right?
Yep. It is. It is. It's about 10, 15 weekends. And but it's definitely worth it if you're out there. I'm still I'm still recruiting. So anybody hearing this that wants to come play, I'm always game to talk it out.
I'll bird dog.
Yeah,
I'll keep my eyes.
Appreciate that. Yeah, please do, Fran. You got everybody out there.
I thought the Hawes boys would be good at it. I even thought
I asked
Collingsworth would have been like the kid on Ubu's, the big strong kid. Right?
Barach.
Yeah, Barach. Yeah, the guy that was on steroids, but that's another story.
He is. That guy is a beast. If anybody saw that guy, you don't get more athletic later in life. It's unbelievable.
Right.
This guy is incredible. This guy's incredible.
Don't you think Kyle would have been Kyle would have
been perfect for it because he can do everything, right? He can pass. He's big. He can defend multiple positions. He's just that guy that can do kind of everything. So he absolutely. I mean, I don't act like I haven't asked these guys. Like I asked the Hawes brothers. I asked all these. I'm like, hey, I'm in on everybody. But
hey, you don't want. Hey, just stay away from Taverneri. Just stay away from Taverneri. He's. You know what? He's kind of. Think about it. He's kind of the guys that you played against on the Brazilian team, right?
He is. He's a big. He's the big shooter. Yep.
And a cheap shot artist,
Yeah, always.
I hope
JT, my guy.
They make it, friend, and they don't shut up either. It's incredible.
Exactly right. JT, he's the best.
I hope he hears this. He will.
He will. He'll hear it. He'll hear it. Don't worry. He'll hear it.
All right, Coach. This has been such an enjoyable 45 minutes. We typically finish out with a lightning round of sorts, some quick hitters.
Okay.
And so we're gonna finish with those 3 or 4 questions, and then let you get on your way. But the quick hitter questions start with this: what's the best win of your coaching career?
Oh, well, 1995, Manhattan College. We were lucky to get in the NCAA tournament because we had dominated the league that year in the MAC, and we actually got upset in the championship to St. Peter's, double overtime. We played well. They played a little better, and somehow we got an at-large bid.
Wow.
And with about a minute and a half to go, we're up like 14 on Oklahoma. And everybody said they don't deserve, Manhattan doesn't deserve to get in. And about a minute and a half to go, I looked at my bench, my players on the bench. I said, nobody celebrate until we get to the locker room. Don't jump around like a maniac. We were the better team tonight. And that Oklahoma team was coached by a good friend of mine, Kelvin Sampson. We
Oh,
became
jeez.
we became friends after that game, but that's probably the biggest win of my career. Manhattan upsetting Oklahoma in the NCAA tournament. The mayor of New York called me at the hotel, Rudy Giuliani, a Manhattan
Giuliani.
College guy. We were on the back page of the New York Post the next day. The
How
back
cool is
page was
that?
in green because it was St. Patty's Day, and we're green,
Let's go.
Jasper.
And the
So anyway,
Jaspers are green.
Jasper's a green. That was
exactly.
perfect
Yeah.
green. I
So
love
that was
that.
that was the biggest win.
Okay. All right. Next quick hitter here. We got most memorable game that you've ever called.
Ooh, oh boy, I've done a bunch of them. I would say, do you guys remember AC Law from Texas A&M?
Oh my goodness!
Oh, yeah, I
Yes,
love
was
that
it
guy.
the 4
How
overtime
about
game?
this? Kevin Durant, AC Law,
Yes.
double overtime, Texas A&M, incredible rivalry, and those guys went shot for shot for like 50 minutes.
I remember
And
watching that game.
it was crazy. Yeah. And my good friend and my mentor, Rick Barnes, who I work for at Providence, and he's still going strong. He's heading to the Hall of Fame soon. But I remember that summer before KD arrived, he goes, Coach Fran, I got the best player in the country. And I said, you mean you got the best freshman in the country? He goes, no, I might have the best player in the country. And he was right. It was Kevin Durant.
He was right.
So,
That guy's unbelievable.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
question
gosh.
number 3. And you've visited a bunch, but what's your favorite basketball venue to visit?
You know, it's got to be 1 and 1A. And I'll say this not because of you guys, but I love the Marriott Center. The pregame stuff is incredible. The fan base is great. The student body is incredible. They're not far behind Kansas and Iowa State.
Mhm.
Kansas is the history of the game, right? They've only had
Yeah,
9
it
coaches,
is.
Dr. Naismith. There's something special. You guys know that. It's magical being in Allen Fieldhouse. And Iowa State, Hilton Coliseum, like Fred Hoiberg used to be the mayor. I'm the mayor of Ames now because and I say this humbly, when they got good with Fred Hoiberg coaching, George Niang, Monty Morris, I treated them like Kansas. Those fans haven't been used to winning all the time,
Yeah.
and they just appreciated that I celebrated their team, their arena, and I saw them down 20. Buddy Hield in Oklahoma, number 1 in the country, went in there. They were up 22 with 17 to go and lost the lead. And Brent Musburger and I called the game. And with about 10 minutes to go, they cut it to like 13. And I remember saying, they still play it on Twitter. Here they come, Brent. And Fred Hoiberg didn't even run plays the last 10 minutes. He gave it to Monty Morris and George Niang, and everybody got out of the way. I love
That
those
is the
places.
That is the play right there. That is the play. And
exactly.
that's
Good coaching. Yeah, give
good
it to
coaching
Jimmer.
right there.
I'm sure.
That's right.
I'm sure Dave
Give it to
Rose.
Jimmer and get out of the way.
Let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go. All right,
And you know
last quick
what?
hitter
Well,
here.
hey,
Yep, go ahead.
By the way, Jimmer knows this. Sometimes you don't even want a ball screen for a guy that good because it just brings 2 guys to the ball. Just get out of Jimmer's way and let him do his thing with
Let
that
it go.
step back from 30.
That's exactly right. All right, last quick hitter here, Coach. This is a
Okay.
good one. Most unique broadcast partner that you've called a game with.
Oh, it has to. Honestly, are you guys, Jimmer, are you old enough to remember Brent Musburger?
Oh, we know
yeah,
Brent.
absolutely.
We know Brent.
Absolutely.
I got a text from Brent in the middle of the game the other night in Ames. He was in Hawaii, and he's like, good job, laddie. I could hear him saying it too. Good job, laddie. Great game. You guys know that the NFL today started in the late 70s with Brent Musburger and Jimmy DeGreek. And when he used to say, you are looking live at downtown Kansas City, home of the Big 12 final. Well, before ESPN, he would tell his gambling buddies in Las Vegas, you are looking live at cold and snowy Soldier Field, where the Packers will invade the Bears today. And that meant his buddies in Vegas would bet the under because the field was in bad condition. Yeah.
He was
And-
giving up.
But Brent did the Doug Flutie game at Boston College, Gar-Hurd triple overtime, 1976 Suns Celtics, Catholics and convicts, Notre Dame, Miami,
Yep.
Final Fours. That's there's nobody better than Brent Musburger. I love John Shambi, Bob Wischusen. But to work with Brent Musburger is like working with one of the presidents on Mount Rushmore.
Well
No
said.
question.
Fran, we appreciate your time. I mean that sincerely. So fun to just shoot the breeze with you and talk hoops and look at your career and then get into the current state of the game and beyond. We can't wait to see your new book. And we appreciate your perspective on balancing faith and faith in God and how that guides you in your own path. And I think you probably don't get enough attention for that, but we appreciate what you bring in that regard to life as well.
I drop it in when I try to do it as much as possible because at the end of the day, when we meet our maker, he's not going to say to Jimmer, "You missed those couple shots in that San Diego State game." So you're not going to, you know what I mean? It's all when you put everything in a heavenly perspective. We're so lucky to be in the playground of life, the three of us. So I always appreciate that, and even the hard times of coaching, it's always been with a plan. And he taught me, don't mess with happy. I'm convinced
That's
that
right.
he told me, he was in my ear when I was about to get on that plane to Milwaukee to work for Tom Crean. "You really want to do this?" And I said, "No, I don't. God, Lord, I don't." And he said, "Okay, call Crean. Tell him you're not coming."
I love it.
That's how it happened.
That's
That's my
how it
story. I'm
happened.
sticking to it.
Hey, a perfect bookend to this conversation.
right.
And again, can't wait to see your new book. Hopefully in October, November. Just
Yep.
send us a copy, okay?
I'll do it, and you'll see me, Spence, in a couple weeks.
Let's go, my friend.
All right.
Great to
All
talk
right,
to
Jim, all
you.
the best, man. We'll get together for lunch soon. We'll talk
Absolutely.
some hoops.
Thanks,
Fran.
Fran.
I'll meet you, Big Bills.
Big Bills. We get a slice. We'll see you later.
Got it.